Today we're diving into a really fundamental but kind of misunderstood part of your car's suspension, kingpin inclination. You can think of it as this invisible force that makes your whole driving experience way smoother and safer than you probably realize. I mean, seriously, think about it for a second. You make a turn, you loosen your grip, and the wheel just glides back to center, almost like magic. Well, that's not just your power steering. There's a really clever bit of geometry at work here. And that's exactly what we're going to unpack. The secret is all about an imaginary line, an angle that was engineered into your car's suspension right from the drawing board. Okay, so to really get how this works, first we need to get a clear picture of what this invisible axis actually is. It's called Kingpin Inclination, or KPI. You'll also hear it called Steering Axis Inclination, or SAI. All it is the angle of the steering pivot tilted inward toward the middle of the car. Now look at this. That red line, that's not a real part you can touch. It's an imaginary line that your wheel pivots on. It runs from the top pivot point, say a strut mount, all the way down through the lower pivot point, which is usually your lower ball joint. And this is the most important part to get right now. Your wheel does not pivot on a straight up and down, perfectly vertical axis. It's pivoting on this tilted axis. And that one little detail, well, it changes everything about how your car steers. Which of course brings up the question, why? Why go through all this trouble to design this tilt? Why is it so important? Well, KPI basically has four main jobs that you can actually feel when you're on the road. It creates that self-centering steering we were just talking about. It makes the steering easier to turn. It helps the car track straight. And it controls something really important called the scrub radius. Let's really zero in on that first job, though, because it's the one you feel every single time you drive. For a lot of people, this is the real aha moment. So because that steering axis is tilted, when you go to turn the wheel, the spindle has to swing in an arc. And that arc actually forces the entire front corner of your car to lift up just a tiny bit, working against gravity. And this just lays it out perfectly. You turn the wheel, the car lifts up. The second you let go, what does gravity want to do? It wants to pull that weight back down to the lowest possible point. And the lowest point is when the wheel is pointing straight ahead. It's a pure mechanical effect. It works even if you don't have power steering. Now, it's really easy to get KPI mixed up with the other common alignment angles, like camber and caster. So let's take a second to make the differences super clear. This table really helps break it down. See, both KPI and camber are angles you see from the front of the car. But KPI is the tilt of the steering axis, that imaginary line. Camber is the tilt of the actual wheel. And caster? That's the tilt of the same steering axis, but you're viewing it from the side of the car. They all work together, but they are totally different things. And sure it is. This is the single most important difference for any car owner or technician to understand. Caster and camber, you can adjust those during a wheel alignment. But kingpin inclination is baked into the design of the suspension parts. Like the steering knuckle itself, it is not adjustable, period. So, because KPI is a fixed number, it actually plays a totally different role in the repair shop. It becomes a really powerful diagnostic clue. You see, technicians use a measurement they call the included angle. And the formula is dead simple. You just add the KPI and the camber angle together. This number gives you the total angle between that steering axis and the center line of the wheel. Right, so think about it. If a technician does an alignment and that included angle number doesn't match what the car maker says it should be, that is a huge red flag. Since they know camber is adjustable but KPI is not, a bad included angle tells them one thing: a part is bent or damaged. So what would you, the driver, actually feel? While your steering might not want to return to center, or maybe it's way harder to turn left than it is to turn right, you could feel a pull when you hit the brakes. All these are signs that your problem isn't just a simple alignment issue. It's likely a damaged part that's messing up your KPI. Okay, let's wrap this all up and really focus on the main takeaway here. KPI is the angle that you just can't fix with a wrench. When an alignment machine kicks out a bad KPI reading, it's basically screaming that something is physically bent or broken on the car. It could be a steering knuckle that got bent from hitting a curb, maybe a damaged strut, or the whole subframe could have shifted in a collision. And just for some context, most regular cars have a KPI somewhere between 7 and 15 degrees. Of course, the exact number is specific to each car's design, but that just gives you a ballpark idea of the kind of angles we're talking about. And this is the bottom line.
It doesn't matter how many times you adjust the tie rods or mess with the camber bolts, you cannot fix an incorrect kingpin inclination. The only way to solve it is to find the damaged part and replace it.
So let's end with that. Kingpin inclination is a foundational, non-adjustable angle that gives you stability and proper steering feel. And for a technician, it's a critical diagnostic tool that separates a simple alignment from serious hidden damage.